You're listening to a DM podcast.
Welcome to Over the Back Fence. I'm Di Edwards.
I'm Nicola Dale, and we're buddies of nearly 4 decades. And yes, we actually do happen to share a back fence.
We do. We love parties, people, inspirational stories, and honestly, making the most out of life.
So join us as we open our hearts, share our stories, and hear from some of the most inspirational people in the world, and have a laugh along the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Well,
Wasn't that fun?
talk about inspiring. And look, honestly, what's always on the tip of everyone's tongues, Nicola, is longevity. To be healthy and maintain that until you do die and live as long as you can.
Mm.
And Marcus's attitude towards that, he's done research all over the world. You know, in 2013, he started a podcast. And I think
know.
it's,
What's
what
he
is it
got?
called?
What, a million?
100 Not Out
I
podcast.
know.
Yeah, a million, what is it,
He
downloads.
actually started,
Yeah.
can you believe that,
Yeah.
before Tim Ferriss? You know, who's one of the biggest podcasters globally.
Yes.
He's been going, I didn't
yes,
even
he's one of the
realise
original potty guys.
Poddies
Yeah.
started then.
It's true. I agree with you.
He's been
Yeah.
around and, was an ex-TV producer. He was back in that field. He's done a lot of different
He's
things.
He's great. He's sort of puts his money where his mouth is. Like I can never say the island properly, but it's Ikaria, and it's an island in Greece. And he studied blue zones before. You know, like Netflix is doing that now at the moment.
it.
He actually takes people to this island in Greece to actually show them how they do live.
And I tell you, they have a great time. I tell you, that might be fun. Another little holiday we might put on our agenda.
Exactly.
What do you
I'd
think?
love to go and see what they
I'd like
do.
to go there too.
And it's all about family, and they garden every day, so it's like movement and attitude.
And I love Marcus's tips.
Yes.
Wow, he gave
chocolate
some good
wine,
tips.
chocolate and wine, and bread. He says, "Go for it."
And I loved it because he was a Red Bull and a Ciggy's man, and he turned it into ginger tea and raw cashews. And
I love him. I love everything about him. Actually,
Change your life. Well, we love him. I'm sure you'll love.
Yeah, you will. He's really worked, and he'll tell you the do's and don'ts if you're aiming for longevity. Enjoy, guys.
Enjoy. Today, Diane, you know who we've got on? We have got Marcus Pearce, who's a wellness coach extraordinaire. Talk about being positive. He's got a podcast, which is 100 Not Out, with over 1 million downloads.
It's incredible.
And you share lots of secrets in blue zones, longevity, how to live your best life, and you've written an incredible book called Your Exceptional Life. Make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my motto.
To me, it doesn't get much
I'm
better
going to
than
sing that at the end of the interview.
So welcome, Marcus.
Welcome.
Thank you for
welcome
coming
on
here.
board. No,
Thank
welcome
you
to
so
Over
much.
the Back Fence. Actually.
I always thought when I was coming in here, and I was like, I wonder if there's a little picket fence just in the middle here.
Well, I've got one in my
that's
car.
what I mean. I was like, is that fence here? Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And can't wait.
You know, there's so much to you, Marcus. It's like it's literally where do you start? But I thought a good starting point would be, I just loved, both Nick and I were reading quite a bit about you yesterday. I loved it when you met your wife-to-be. You're a busy sports journalist and producer, smoking, drinking, partying, Red Bull-guzzler, meat-eating dude.
That's what we did in our 20s.
Then you went on to no drinking, meat-free, no smoking. Wow, contrasting worlds. Tell us about starting the Wellness Centre and, how that all came about and that big, massive change.
I think buried the lead in there. It was shaving with avocado, which was actually the biggest part of the...
Shaving with avocado.
So I used to work at the AFL footy show at Channel 9. I know you've got visions of it now, Di, I know. And I was Eddie Maguire's producer when he was at the footy show. And I had met, like a lot of workaholic journalists, media is not a very health-oriented space. And, we'd smoke and we'd drink and we'd have fun. And I fell in love with a chiropractor who was organic eating, just so healthy, everything that I was, and opposites attract.
The yin and yang.
Yin and yang, absolutely.
So true.
So I was starting to eat better, and then I came home from the footy show one night. I'd been smoking and drinking. It was like 3 a.m. I'm like, I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to have a shower. I'll just go to bed. My girlfriend, who's now my wife, is like, oh my God, what's just happened? It's like this stinky, smelly fossil
and
entered
it is
the bed.
an awful stench.
It's an awful stench. And so
that cigarette smell.
Awful.
So I quit all of that. I loved health. My nickname went from MP or Piercy to Mung Bean in the Footy Show office.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was grating fresh ginger and having ginger tea and having raw cashews, and I was inspired. And then it went,
what the hell's happened to this
yeah.
dude?
What's with the avocado?
well,
on the-
again, like we went
on.
vegetarian, then we went vegan, then we went to Ireland of all places, and I was literally on the way to the pub, and Sarah said, "Why don't we stop drinking?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
Wow.
the things you do for love.
You know?
And the things that how love can influence you.
Oh, honestly.
she's been a
Wow.
great
She's amazing.
influence on you.
She's
Yeah, in
older,
so many
wiser,
ways.
beautiful. So grateful to have met. We've got 4 beautiful kids. It's all worked
Oh.
out beautifully. But we both went barking up the wrong tree really badly. We thought if we were vegan and we didn't drink, we'd found the fountain of youth. You know, we're in our early 20s at this stage thinking we've nailed life. And then back in 2010, I came across some research from Yale which showed that people that had a disempowered view of aging died 7.5 years earlier than people that had an empowered view of aging.
So view
And
meaning attitude,
belief,
thinking.
attitude. And here I was
Mindset.
being
Right on.
vegan, shaving with avocado, not having alcohol, thinking
Yeah.
I found the fountain of youth. Well, really,
So
it's-
where did you find that? Where did you read
this was
that?
in a book by John Robbins called Healthy at 100. He was the heir to the throne
that
of
was the
Baskin
massive
Robbins ice cream.
transition in
The
your
ice
life.
cream
Yeah, ice cream man,
one.
Baskin
Yes.
Robbins.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Quite extraordinary, isn't it?
So that was a
fascinating.
turning point for you in your life when you read that
That was
book.
that turning point of like, actually, as a journalist,
Yeah.
the pop culture, mainstream media persona of getting older is disgusting. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We have grumpy old men. We watch Everybody Loves Raymond, and Frank is like this grumpy man. And people that are getting older are not portrayed all that well. There's maybe 1 or 2 or 3. Who do we love? Like Jane
They're often
Fonda
shoved
and-
into retirement villages.
Oh,
too.
you know, exactly right. So I think I recognise there was a really poor self-esteem, this I'm too old to. I'm like, no one should ever say I'm too old to ever again, because I think I've interviewed so many centenarians over the years. When someone in their 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s says, I'm too old to, I can tell them someone that's 10 years older than them that has done the thing that they say they're too old to do.
So
It's
good,
never
isn't it? Hearing
an
that.
I'm too old. I'm like, come on, guys. We've got to
And
get
I
better
think
at this.
We have to hear
Yeah.
it again and
Yeah,
again
I
and
agree.
again. A bit like exercise.
Yes.
When you're saying that mindset.
Yes.
Well, another
it's that
wrincle
thing
appears and
that's
you're
so-
like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's
Another
okay.
wrinkle
It's
of
another
wisdom.
wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. You're on it, Di. You're on it.
WW.
But
The
it's,
wisdom
and
wrinkle.
also
I like that.
the
I like that.
gratitude of living life, anyhow. But that's just such a great thing, and I just think hear it again and again and again.
It's true.
Absolutely. I mean,
Mindset. as you
doing the
said.
podcast every
Purely
week is
mindset.
like therapy. You girls like find this like therapy. I've been
it
listening to your
is.
podcast, and I love it. How often you have these deep conversations that you said at the beginning of your podcast. You love parties, you love people, you love
Yes,
fun,
yeah.
you love inspiring stories. And if you think about it, you never get sick of it. And I think aging gracefully is like that. If you love your life,
Yes.
you want to keep on doing it day after day after day. But we have to know the ingredients to live a great long life. And I think that's where we get a bit misguided in how to live and how to age
So
gracefully.
when someone's lost, you know, what do you say? Because, you know, people there going, you know what, I'm down and out at the moment. I can't sort of have lost my mojo. You know, my kids have left home. I'm sort of like they're going, I don't know what to do. You
Yeah.
know, and so I'd love to be happy, but I can't.
Well,
how do
yeah.
you, what
I
do
mean,
you
I
say
get a
to
bit
some
jaded
listeners
on
there?
this because I feel like again, everyone's like, well, just hop in an ice bath and do breath work and meditate and write in your gratitude journal. But I tend to feel that we actually really need to identify where are we weaker in our lives. So I'm all about there's 8 areas of life. There's your purpose or that reason to get out of bed. There's your physical vitality or your movement, your social life, your nutrition, your family life, your growth, your hobbies, your fun.
And this is
you know,
very much emphasised in your book,
your exceptional life, yeah. And your wealth and your spirit. Like there are 8 areas of life. Most of us are focusing on our strengths, whether it's our family or our diet. But really, like longevity is like, why do you get out of bed each day? Like, is it to volunteer down at the U3A or to go and play tennis with your friends or run a multi-million-dollar company? It doesn't matter, but what is it? And then in the 48 half-hour chunks you have each day, do you give at least one of them to physical activity? Because dementia, 42% of all dementia would disappear if we were moving 30 minutes a day. Yeah. And that just goes to show that we're not moving very much because a lot of people have it. Many people think it's normal. And then are we socially active? Like they're the 3 big
So
ingredients
those 3
of
things
longevity.
again. So you're socially active.
movement.
Physically active,
Physically
and then
active.
have a purpose for your day, your week, your life, whatever
It doesn't
it
have
is.
to be a career.
No way. It can be.
No.
It can be parenting. It can be grandparenting. It can be volunteering. It can be a professional life. It doesn't matter. But everyone's purpose in life is to help people. You help people, ladies, right now, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through travel, whether it's through podcasts, whatever it is, whether it's through mothering. All of our purpose for all of us is to help people, but the way that we do that is what makes us unique. You know, Gus Wallen, right now, through helping people with their mental health and supporting their village and so on, it's different for all of us, but we have to recognise what is it that gets us out of bed each day. I don't want to copy Di. I don't want to copy Nick. I've got to do what Marcus wants. And that's what we have to recognise is own our unique, our exceptional personality and go forth and make that happen.
Isn't that great? Because I think a lot of people sometimes, and maybe it's Instagram or social media too, going, oh, maybe I should be like that. Or it looks like they're having all the fun or they're doing that and I'm not leading that life.
It dilutes their purity.
Whereas really, be in your own lane.
Well, your interview with Bridget Warren. It was like Silver Fox.
He's been listening to the
podcast. Journalist by profession.
You're getting tick here.
This is the thing.
Marcus.
Like she was like, I can see that models 30 plus, like there's things for them.
It's a really good one to bring in on this subject.
Like have the courage to go, I know it's exceptional. I know it's unique. I know there'll be people going, it's not going to work and so on, but it's kind of so obvious that was Bridget's path.
Yes.
And she was tenacious and she had one person, her friend, who believed that it was a great idea. And they went out and they were tenacious. Instagram will tell you can do it in 30 seconds or a 12-week program or 7-minute abs, but it's not. It's like day in, day out, tenacious and own the fact that your purpose is what makes you tick, and it's very unique.
Wow.
And we all get told it when we're young. Yeah. What do you want to be when you're older, Nick? You know, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a makeup artist. But as we get older, it's like, I just got to pay the bills. I just got to pay the mortgage. I'm like,
and they get caught in that rut. Literally a rut.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you bounce out of a rut if someone's in a rut?
Well, again, I think it sounds a little bit woo. We have to give ourselves permission.
We love woo.
To absolutely own like the self-esteem that makes us special. Like we won the race just in being born. Like think of the odds of actually getting to birth. It's so amazing that we actually got here. So if we got here, it's got to be for a reason. It's got to be for a purpose. Now, if you've been a parent, your purpose in life instantly changed the moment you had a baby. 1 minute you're thinking about work. The next minute you're like, I've got to keep this baby alive. Like your purpose instantly changes. And then if that baby moves out of home, or maybe if they go to school, you're like, what do I do with my time all day? And then if they move out of home, you're like, who am I now? And you have grandkids and it's like, oh, how much time do I dedicate to my kids and my grandkids? We have to examine our lives. And this is where I say we have to do the work. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living.
So as Di's question was, if someone's in a rut, you're saying
examine
your life.
Yeah.
Like stop looking at everyone else's life. The unexamined life is not worth living. We have to make our life so worth living. We know
it's awareness at the end of the day.
We know everything about everyone else's lives. We watch the news, we're on the socials, we're getting everyone's emails. But how much work do we do on our lives? Do people even ask us like how we are these days? Yeah, good, thanks. Like, what's happening in your life? This is why your podcast is awesome. You're having these deep and meaningful conversations with people and drawing it out. And like working on your life has become this selfish, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be more altruistic, think about others more. You have to put your oxygen mask on first for your exceptional life. You must make yourself the priority. Forget about what everyone else is doing in their life. Get to know you and your life and then go and give that to humanity. I know it sounds a bit woo, but this is whether it's someone that's sweeping the patio and that makes them feel happy and then they go and give the best version of themselves to their friends and their family or their colleagues. But we can't wake up in the morning consuming everyone else's news and then bring this energy to work or our kids or whatever. Like we have to bring our best version
Marcus,
of
that is just so wonderful, and that is exactly what we're about. And that's also like when we started our podcast too, it was to motivate, to inspire, hear people's stories, share our stories, the ups and downs, the lows, and what makes things, you tick, and do what you love, love what you do.
Street Medics, youngest talent of the year.
Oh,
Daniel.
He's
28. 28.
28,
Marcus.
This is what I mean. People would say it cannot work. It cannot work. What are you doing?
I was almost teary through the whole interview, just being in his presence, because we described him as the Earth Angel.
Yes.
And you're one of those too. I feel that from you also.
Yes,
no, I mean that you're older, as I say, what do we say? With age comes wisdom. There's certain
Marcus
people that
isn't
give
that
back.
old, though, is he? Marcus?
out of school, 42 years.
28 for what he's
exactly.
achieved is
right.
He's
is
still a
worth,
pup, isn't
is
he?
worth bottling.
Absolutely. And then if you want to go, you look at 7-year cycles, and that's
Yeah.
28 years of age is a massive
Oh,
change.
Isn't
I
it?
couldn't
Yeah,
even.
I know.
I was
That's
almost
what we're just
speechless in
going
his
like,
presence.
Whoa.
So, 100 Not Out, your podcast, as Nicholas said, like you were one of the original podcasters. What was that, a million odd downloads? That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I don't check the stats.
That's
That
a
is-
huge
that is
call.
true, but I
it's
don't
a huge
even-
call.
I don't know what your producers-
a huge call, but here's a huge question. Over that period of time and 100 Not Out, like obviously the inference being longevity, having healthier
Yes,
lives.
it's not
living
a cricket
longer lives.
podcast,
Greater-
sorry, sports
No,
lovers.
exactly. Exactly right. And I'm thinking, okay, give us some feedback from all of that time in that seat, interviewing all those people. Feedback such as, who are the people that influenced you the most, such as their lives and how they overcame certain things, and maybe their advice of how they've gained longevity.
Okay, the easy one.
Yeah.
They all love coffee, wine, and chocolate.
See, you've won me.
Whoa. 3 ticks.
You've won. You've won
Okay.
both of us with that
And
one.
if
Love
it's not
that.
wine, it's vodka if they've got Russian
Oh,
heritage.
you're winning
but,
me
you
all
know.
again.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
4
so
ticks.
Another tick.
there's a
I
quick and
tell you
easy
what.
one, folks.
Marcus is
You know,
our man.
I still haven't found a
wow.
100-year-old vegan that's been vegan since they were born. No disrespect to any vegans. It's just something I'm looking for. But
Yeah.
on the big and deep and meaningful stuff,
Yeah.
their tragedies in life, their challenges, whether it's war, whether it's they've lost family members in the
War
Holocaust.
as in Holocaust, like
Holocaust. Eddie JQ, Happiest Man on Earth, was a dear friend of mine, and he lost
My
every
favourite book.
single
Yeah,
member. Best
same.
book ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ever.
I agree.
But here's the thing: the challenges in life give them a resilience, and the resilience that they receive when they go, "Oh my gosh, I survived it," gives them an optimism that they can actually live a great life. And with that optimism, they then go and live their great life. And people go, "You're so happy." And it's kind of like, yeah, because I've been through the ringer in life and I realised that I survived. And now I've got this self-esteem to be like, oh my gosh, if I survived the Bali bombing, or if I survived the Holocaust, or if I survived this divorce or burying a child or whatever it is, I must be pretty strong. And then I go and live my life. Eddie JQ was the sad sack dad looking at his son going, I can't be this decrepit, depressed man for this boy. I have to learn how to be happy. I have to stop having this survivor guilt from the Holocaust and go, I have a boy to raise now. I'm going to be a happier version of myself. He couldn't believe that his wife, Flor, dearly departed Flor, was still with him. And he was like, I've been the worst boyfriend, then husband, and now I'm a dad. I've got to change my ways. But he got that strength from the challenges that he'd gone through.
He examined himself.
Absolutely, he examined himself. He took an audit on his life. This is why I love the interviews that you've done, because people have been examining their lives and realised that the challenges have made them stronger. And I know that's cliche, but I've never met a centenarian that's had a cushy life. They've all had challenges.
That's
and every
so
listener
true, isn't it?
has had challenges.
It's true. It's that transformation, isn't it? You know, sometimes look the hardest times and then you hit rock bottom and it might take you a while to swim out of it. But then once you do, it's like you've got this extra sort of like a superpower, isn't it? You know,
And I think
so-
some people think rock bottom has to be dramatic and Hollywood.
Yes.
Your rock bottom is your rock bottom. Like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
touch wood. I haven't had a lot of tragedy in my life.
Great.
And that's just been my life. But I listen to others and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
But their challenges are their challenges. And I think whatever the listeners are going through right now is recognize that any challenge is giving you strength. Like strength to live your best life. There are no mistakes in the universe. Everything is a blessing in disguise, no matter how hard it is to see it at the time. And again, time will allow those blessings to, I suppose, expose themselves when we examine our lives and really consider it.
Oh,
And anything else from all that time in
That's
the
a
podcast
positive
seat
take to
on
that.
longevity?
there's
What else would you take
hundreds
out?
of things.
Give me another one, like because that was remarkable. What you
Yeah,
just
that
said.
was just fantastic.
Survivors.
Well, I feel like I
overcoming.
want to take you to Europe and go to Ikaria for a minute
Well,
because
I think
there's a
we
lot.
need to
a
go
lot
there because that's huge. Now, this is an island in Greece where, because let's just start with all the people like myself, for example, because I know how popular it is on Netflix.
Yes.
Who've been watching
Live to 100. Secrets
which
of the
is
Blue Zone.
Zone,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's right.
And look, for those that don't know what that is, there's areas in the world where people live
National
beyond
Geographic
100.
identified 5 places
Yeah.
a bit over 20 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but you were ahead of a lot of people, but
Liz
you
Hayes
were,
was ahead of us. She went there with
Yes.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I saw Liz over there and I was like, we've got to take our listeners over there.
And this is what I love about you. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're actually taking groups of people into this island to actually explore their culture and lifestyle and why and how they're living beyond 100. So tell us about that.
That's right. There's this great line by John D. Martini, I think. You can't put your hand in a pot of glue without some of the glue sticking. And you go to Ikaria.
Right.
We live with the locals for 10 days. And again, some of that glue sticks, you bring it back to Australia and you apply what you've learned over there. In Ikaria, this is a Greek island, it's just near the Turkish coast. There is no flat land. Everything is undulating. So if they want to walk to the village to go shopping, to see a friend, go for a wine, they're hill walking. They're going down steps. They're not counting their 10,000 steps on their smartwatches. They're just physically active. They would say, why drive when you can walk? So they are physically active. When you're drinking wine with them, some people will hate this, but they will always put water in the wine because they want to drink with you for longer. They don't want to get drunk. They love tipsy. They're so good at tipsy.
So it's all about community and
It's
sharing
all
something
community.
together.
And if we're together, we don't want two-pot screamers that are just going to have 2 drinks and then they're done. We want to be together for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, but be able to be communicative and be able to chat and not go, oh, she's switched, she's lost it, she's drunk. So they will actually drink all day if they want to, but they will eat whilst they drink. They will eat before they drink. They will put water in their wine. They will never drink alone. They will always drink with others. They would always drink local wine. They would never drink French wine or Australian wine. They're very big on gardening. So gardening as a way to wake up in the morning, tend to the garden, check on the goats. They're physically active in the garden.
That seems to be in all the blue zones. What else are we looking at?
Well, in Ikaria, there is a real connection to, they're Greek Orthodox. So they know, to extend on that chat you had with Gus, they know how to grieve. They have ritual around grief. They know how to express their anger, their frustration, their moods. They know how to express their happiness, but they're a lot more what we would call emotionally available. They're so nice, or they're so authentic, and you really can feel that. And I think we're very good at wearing a mask in Australia, and everything's fine or good, thanks, or are you busy? Like that's never a conversation.
No.
And
so they're really real with their feelings, and if they are feeling really bad, they can express it.
In Ikaria, and whether you call this spirit, whether you call this purpose, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They are so relaxed about time. It is really challenging first couple of days. We've heard of island time.
I love it. Island time, Fiji.
But we've heard of island time. This is island time on steroids. Bula. This
That's
is more
fascinating.
like,
It takes because they're all going on their phones and
and the Wi-Fi is terrible.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to be running a business or paying wages on a Friday from Ikaria. And I've had one attendee attempting to pay wages, running a multi-million-dollar company on a little Greek island, and it's
just like that.
Yeah, so that relationship to time.
Yes.
I
love that.
If you're getting petrol, you're talking to your friends at the petrol station. If you're ordering a coffee, you might be there for half an hour. Not just like
relaxed,
skinny.
isn't it?
It's
really
beautiful.
relaxed, which I think is a really nice thing.
Ikaria
Live where you love where you live.
has a
Love
community,
it.
a public spirit, a community feel that I think a lot of
isn't
people
it
go.
wonderful?
If you're on the northern beaches, there's a really great community on the
there
northern
sure
beaches.
is,
So loving where you live is something that if you don't have it and you see people that have it, you're like, need to do something about this.
Well, that's and can I
that's
just
great.
ask on that note,
That's
too,
a
when you said
worthwhile
about
investment.
Relationships. You seem like a very happily married man with 4 beautiful children.
Yes.
What are your tips and secrets of a happy marriage?
Well, I always want to go deep on these things.
Shoot, because the way you spoke about your wife, I just
Because it
thought
obviously
was
heads
so beautiful.
towards longevity.
Well,
Tell us, and tell a lot of our listeners.
Dr. John D. Martini wrote the blurb to my book, who's a beautiful man. If anyone here's watched The Secret or heard of The Secret, go and have a look at Dr.
We
D.
love
Martini.
The Secret. Yes, we love it.
So at an event, Dr. D. Martini runs an event called the Breakthrough Experience, and you do a process on someone in your life that you might say triggers you. And the most difficult person to do it on, what Dr. D. Martini says, is your partner. And so me being a firstborn Leo high achiever, I'm like, I'm going to do it on Sarah. Because you go rationally, you go, but I love her. Nothing bothers me.
Quickly,
Like,
what star sign is Sarah?
we're both Leos.
Oh,
two married Leos.
okay.
Yeah, both buyers. So I attempt this collapse process. It's called On Sarah, where you tell them everything you love about them and you have all these breakthroughs. And Sarah's like, not buying it. Not buying it. And it took me 3 goes. And the clincher was, and I am answering your question, Nick, I promise, is that I realised that particularly in intimate relationship, you never want to actually attempt to change your partner.
No.
And I had to come to this acceptance and appreciation that Sarah not being me, like Sarah she gave up chiropractic to raise children. She felt like an average chiro and an average mum when she was trying to do both. And she said, I just want to be at home with the kids all day, every day, and that's what I want. And I was like, but we need to grow this business and see more patients and grow and be more like me, be more businessy.
Yes.
And anyone listening here that is hoping their partner will be more like them, like stop it, quit it. Like I learned at this event, the best thing about Sarah is Sarah being herself. And as I said at the top of the podcast, we have to master the art of being ourselves. And when I appreciated Sarah loving the fact that she wanted to stay at home and that was her work, raising children, and I was like in love with that idea, then Sarah and our relationship has just skyrocketed. I never have fights with Sarah about why aren't you more like me and why aren't I more like her? Like own your opposites attracting, keep it that way. So many people want their partner to be more like them, or I thought he or she would change when we got married. No way.
It's so healthy. It's that acceptance, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Or if you think someone's going to change, that may not ever happen because...
Unconditional love is no fine print on the contract of love.
So tell me about the influence of family, loving family and longevity.
Oh, well, this is a bit close to my heart because just before COVID, Sarah's mum and dad moved up to Byron and Sarah's 2 brothers have also moved up. So Sarah's whole family has moved up and we live in Mullumbimby just out of Byron.
Oh, do you? Oh,
yep,
whoa.
Sarah's folks live 2 doors up from us and Sarah's brothers just live around the corner. So we live in this very,
it's wonderful for your kids too,
absolutely.
isn't it?
We've got this
Yes.
3-generation life. But so I feel very strongly about the love of family. I totally recognise not everyone has that life.
No, they don't.
So
Some don't want to be that
But
close
sometimes-
to your family, do they?
Exactly.
You know?
And sometimes friends become your family.
This is the thing.
So,
So family
yeah.
is not necessarily your blood family.
They become your family, yeah.
It's the feeling of
Yes.
emotional
Not
safety.
your
Love.
family.
Love.
Haven't I?
Well,
Yeah.
she's my extra
You
sister.
share a back
It's
fence,
true.
like you're
Share a
like
back
sisters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not. This
When
is,
it doesn't necessarily be blood, it's family, yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And so it's more the feelings and
And
anyone.
what does that do to the body
Well,
to
again,
maintain
biochemically,
longevity?
it raises
Right.
oxytocin levels, which we
Right.
know is the hormone of love. And so
Yes.
just that physical touch, that being around each other
Yeah.
actually makes us feel good when we love the people. I say socializing is energizing when it's when done with the right people. So if that's your family, if that's your friends, but spending time in what I would call like ceremonial experiences, like having a beer or wine with a friend and just enjoying it, having dinner or a cup of tea with a friend and enjoying it.
And you talk about sitting at the dinner table with a friend or family or whoever that may be,
Absolutely.
and how
Sharing
important
life,
that
isn't
is to sit down, move away from any other disturbance
don't need to be near a TV
or
to
interruption.
eat
You
dinner.
to sit down at a table and share stories.
And do you need
yeah, that's
time
important.
to yourself, solitude, to fill your own cup up before you can give? Or do you always around people all the time?
I don't like to be too templated with people, but I'm selfish. So I will say that in the morning, I definitely love to get up, hop on the stationary bike or go for a walk or a run and have me time
That's healthy
before
then,
I'm going
yeah.
to give. And if Sarah and I
Yeah.
are ever having
Most
barneys in the
people
morning,
go
it's
for a
because she
walk
hasn't had
or
enough
gym
her
or-
time
Yes.
for
Yeah.
herself
Yeah.
because the kids are like, Mum, what am I doing today? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Sarah, just get out of the house, go
Yes.
walk, whatever. You know, you need to
Yes.
fill your cup up before
Yeah.
you know,
Do
dealing
some
with the
exercise,
demands.
the greatest gift.
Oh, totally.
The greatest
Wow.
gift.
Yeah, and movement with movement with a friend. I know I've got clients where, you know, they'll go for a walk with their girlfriend,
Yes.
you know, for an hour in
We're
the
big
morning.
fans
I just
of that, aren't we?
love that. Movement and
Huge.
social combo is
yeah.
like perfect.
Yeah. Talking to you with a bingo, Your Exceptional Life in front of me, which
Yeah.
is, of course, the name of the book. An exceptional life, it seems like a big call because life's not always exceptional.
Correct.
So, how do you find an exceptional life?
I think time can allow us to be at peace with the fact that our lives are exceptional, but in the moment, those events don't feel exceptional. Again, if you ask anyone who's grieving for a loved one right now, oh, this is all part of your
Yeah,
exceptional
exactly.
life. It's like, give me
No.
a break.
I know.
But-
I'm
there's a
grieving.
tool-
Because people
tools
right now
to
listening
come out of
are
that,
going
yeah.
through the hardest
Totally.
times of the life, and they might go,
But that's a
Yeah.
moment in time, and you learn from
But
that,
it's-
and you grow from that.
yes.
But ultimately, an exceptional life.
Look, let's be brutal here. Again, listening to Gus on the way in this morning, Gus
Yeah.
Wallen. If
we
his
love
mentor hadn't passed away,
Yeah.
you would not have interviewed Gus
Correct,
about
correct.
that movement.
This
So
is a really
how
great
brutal
analogy.
do we want to get about this?
Certainly is.
This is
Good
life,
journo
folks.
work there, Marcus.
Well,
Yes,
I just like to
no.
put the
But
pieces
it's
of the
true,
story
though.
together.
We were actually talking about it
and I
today.
think that's so good to
Yeah.
share that and
Yeah.
acknowledge that and say
It's
that.
true.
Because
that
it's the
changed
reality
his
of...
trajectory in his world,
Yeah.
didn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
We don't like to necessarily talk about it in that manner, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the deepness of life.
Yeah.
The blessings are everywhere, but we
Yeah.
just have to give ourselves permission.
This is the charity got
to
you for
call
life,
it
by the way.
Yes,
a
yes,
blessing in disguise.
Yeah. And how do you find about aging yourself?
I love it. I mean, this is my life, right? But I think I
He's
don't
a
find
baby.
I don't find it easy. Like I find as you get older, like physically, again, I'm 42. Like I've got to be onto it with my movement. I'm all about you've got to walk. There's great research around walk a mile in 17 minutes. It's not as easy as it sounds. Like you've got to be onto it.
So that's a bit of the pace, is that
A bit
right?
of pace. It's not a
Yes.
stroll. There's a bit of
Yeah.
pace. I
Okay.
find movement is my Achilles heel because most of us, I think we still feel like we're 21, but then you're
Yes.
running. And you're like,
Yes.
oh, I'm not running as fast as, or you're walking, or you're playing tennis. So I think we are aging. I'm a fatalist. Like, we're all going to die.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
not into this, we're never
all
going to die.
be born and die. It's
But
a fact.
it's all
Yeah.
about, I've heard about
Yeah.
the dash. It's all what you do with the dash in between your birth and your death, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I'm really big on the fact that embrace the fact that you're getting older, like embrace the wrinkles, embrace the joy and the reverence and the wisdom and what I would like to think of the respect of getting older. But you will have all of those things when you respect yourself enough to honor that your life is exceptional. You won those 1 in a billion numbers to be born.
Yeah.
And you got there. So like honor
That's
that.
so good hearing
Honor that.
this.
You
And you're
won
here
the
for a
gold medal.
reason, too. Everyone's here for a reason.
Yeah, people go, oh, my mum
Yeah.
didn't love me, my dad didn't love me. I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
you were born because of them. That just call that game over. Thanks, mum. Thanks, dad. Appreciate it. You got me here. All right, now work the rest out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and
Love it.
have friends and find work you love and honor your body and fall in love and give love and all of the rest of it. Like we put too much pressure on our mums and our dads to be like saints. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
And
like-
everyone's done what
Yeah.
they say the best they could do with what they knew at the
Totally.
time.
It's the tools they had
do you
on
think
board.
too,
It's true.
Correct
so
me if I'm
true.
wrong, but when you sort of say, we're all going to die, and so sometimes it's like it's kind of good to remind yourself that
Oh.
because
Yeah.
you go, how many summers have I got left?
What's
Well,
my
do you
line?
have
I've got
friends
more
that have got-
birthdays
you know?
behind me than in front of me. I love that
Yeah.
line. Someone said it to me once. I went, wow, I've got to make the
Yeah.
most out of life.
And it's
wow.
I love that,
It's true.
and I think it's good
Yeah.
that we want to share that word, and having someone like you is
It's
sort of like a guru.
attitude. You know what? I want to know the do's and don'ts of longevity.
Well, I say quit the stinking thinking. Like don't say you're too
Wow.
old.
I'm going to say that slower. Quit the stinking
thinking. What does someone else say? Give yourself a checkup from the neck up. Like, just stop saying you're too old. Stop saying your best years are behind you. It's all downhill from here. You don't understand my left knee, my right hip, my left shoulder. Like, no. Put a plan together to make the rest of your life the best of your life and get to work. Hang out with cool people. Like, you've got to have friends. You've got to have physical contact with people. You've got to be physically active. I don't care whether it's basketball, netball, lawn bowls, golf, swimming, water skiing, whatever it is. Just love your physical body and move it. And literally give yourself a reason to get out of bed that you love and don't care what anyone else thinks. Like I could give you so many things, whether it's sleep, and don't buy into the whole gratitude movement, just writing 3 things you're grateful for every day. Say thank you to your barista for making you a coffee. Like say thank you to your lawyer for helping you divorce the toxic relationship. Like be grateful in the moment rather than at 9 o'clock at night with a cup of tea. Like we've got to, and again, we focus on meditating. What about living meditatively? Go for a walk without your phone in nature on the beach and live meditatively. Listen to the sound of the waves crashing rather than the sound of the gossip that's going on at, the mainstream media. So I think there are so many things, Di. Sorry to be so flippant,
No, I'm
but
loving
there
it.
are just
No,
so many
every
things.
I'm
single one.
we
actually
can do.
loving
We are,
this.
we're just
This
everything
is
that
just,
you're saying.
This is just food for my
Yeah,
soul.
it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
that's exactly
Yeah,
how we
yeah.
feel, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners will feel. And
What about the
and
don'ts
some-
though? Like I know this is amazing because we've talked a lot about thoughts and attitudes. Interesting you haven't gone into because movement, very important, but food.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't go on a diet. I think,
You know,
126 diets for the women out there.
No, but I
Vegan,
mean,
you've-
Keto, paleo.
Is it balance?
Yeah.
like what is it about with food, for example? Like,
Well, okay.
Ikaria, you're talking about
So-
they're eating goat and,
Yes.
and Sardinia.
Well, I don't
horse.
want to be too controversial,
No.
but again, I was vegan for 7 years. I'm not a vegan anymore. But I think we've got to be mindful that diet experts die prematurely. Pritikin died at 69. Cancer, committed suicide. Again, he committed suicide in his own words because he did not enjoy the image that a diet expert of his stature would get cancer at 69. Robert Atkins died at 72. Michael Montagnac, South Beach diet, died at 66 of prostate cancer.
That was huge.
Like,
that one.
There's
Remember
so
that?
many
You've
though.
heard of these
Amazing.
diets,
Yeah,
and the
no.
diet
Listeners,
experts aren't around.
This
Yes,
is true.
yeah.
So
yeah.
we've just got to be really mindful around diets. Life is not as simple as eating a great diet. If you're having an organic chicken salad, but you hate your job, you've got no friends, you've got no money, you hate your family, you're bored out of your brains, I don't care where your food comes from.
Yeah,
We've just got to be really clear that
It eats you up
food brings
inside,
people
doesn't it?
together. It does.
Yes.
Food brings people together. Okay, what if I'm having 14 hamburgers from McDonald's every day?
Yeah, well
Tiny,
then...
sometimes
Then-
it was the end of the night.
Then you'd be
Don't
going...
even
Like, you
pull
can't
up
say to me
Macca's.
that's okay.
No, but are you eating those 14 hamburgers with
really.
people that you love and having deep and meaningfuls? Because I don't know many people that have had a deep and meaningful over at McDonald's. Like, just the way it works generally. It's fast food on the run. You're running
Yeah.
late for somewhere.
Well, just something that's not good for me. For example, I'm having pavlovas or
If you're having a
brownies
pavlova,
or whatever, you know what I mean?
But
with
enjoy
Nick,
it, is it?
I'm
Nick,
intrigued to
and a
hear
glass
where
of
it goes.
champagne,
Yeah.
enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah.
But if you're
Wow.
doing
It's
it
not
every
gonna-
day,
No.
then I would expect Nick to go, hey, babe, this is probably not the best thing
Yeah.
to be having a pav every day with a glass of champagne. It's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's just you're doing it on a Sunday, relax.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. We can't be worried about having the chocolate cake going, or even today
No,
I
not the
saw...
chocolate. It's some
Well,
people that do have five,
So this
five
is all
pieces
so
of
it's
chocolate
a
cake.
dosage. So
Yeah.
dosage. You're asking
Yeah.
about dosage, and again,
Yes.
I don't like when authors say it's in the book, but I
Yes.
remember putting this
Yeah.
in the book because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so important. Nutrition is all about the dosage. It's not the chocolate cake. It's the problem. It's how much of it
I
are you
believe
having.
that.
Yeah.
That's my
You know.
philosophy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
what you put
And
in.
I say this looking at centenarians eating
Yeah.
hot chips and
Now,
drinking
this is the
wine.
thing.
like,
I was reading about
you
some
know,
of these dudes that
they're
like
having
are
bread.
over
It's like
100,
so they're having gluten.
Yeah.
They're having
Wow.
wine, coffee,
Yep.
chocolate, bread,
Yep.
and they're living.
But they're also
well.
physically active and they're socially active and they love their lives and they're with their family. So it's not just
So it's
one
the
thing.
whole
It's a
picture.
puzzle. It's a
Right.
1,000 piece puzzle.
Okay.
So when you say what tips, it's like, I could
Yes.
give you 1,000 tips,
Yeah.
but it's the pieces are different for everyone. Like we love to walk, but
Yes.
other people love to run. You
Right.
don't want to tell a runner to walk. You don't want to
Yes.
tell a walker to run.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
Marcus, what's
Yeah.
your favourite thing to do? Like, no.
physically.
Well,
Anything.
well,
No,
it
no,
has
no,
all
no,
of
just
this
today,
influence.
look at all this.
John.
Like, what's your sort of
Yeah.
your favourite sort of things to do in
Yeah.
life?
Oh, so many
With all
things.
that knowledge on board.
Yeah. What do
well,
you love?
I could go. I mean, I love table tennis. Like little random
do
things. Bought myself a
I.
table
I
tennis
haven't
table.
done it. I love it.
I never knew. I've known it for 40 years. I never
Hey, you
knew.
know what? We
That's
should have a game one
incredible.
time.
Honestly,
Wow.
so in Sardinia, we're doing that.
Yeah.
In
I love
Sardinia.
it. Well, that's where I want to go. Sardinia.
All right. So if we go to Sardinia, there's a resort
My brother,
there.
if you're listening to this, we've always had this world championship table tennis thing, and it was our biggest competition, and it's the best.
Do
so
it. I'll tell you
Table
the resort
tennis?
in Sardinia. You're going
I'm
to
there,
play
baby.
there.
What
But
else?
I love reading, so I'm a bookworm. I love having a beer with my father-in-law, like at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. When the day is done, again, they live 2 doors up the road.
Chew
I
the
love to
fat.
take 2 Stone and Woods up to Rob and Jill's, chew the fat. The kids could be having a swim.
cool.
And again, in Ikaria, I learnt this. When they come home from work,
Yeah.
they just pop a bottle and have a glass
the
with their
water.
friends, with the water, if they want to go
You
for
like
longer.
your little body at 5 o'clock.
But they have a
I do,
sundowner. They have a
5:30.
sundowner
Yeah.
and they just chill. And they're not
Yeah, I
checking their
love that.
emails. They're not on their phones.
Oh,
They're present.
They're just present. We
Yeah.
could be talking about golf. We could be talking about work. We could be talking about anything.
So
it
you
doesn't
like
matter.
to. So then you read and.
I love spending time with the kids. So again, I think
beautiful.
I'm big on my kids love sports. So if they want to play soccer, even though I love AFL, I'm playing soccer with the kids. I coach the basketball team. I'm there doing all of the things because I love that. You know, I'm probably a child of the dad who I love, my best mate, my dad. But he was all about work, and it was like if he was working, then that was the gift to the family. But you always crave that quality time with your dad that maybe you didn't have as much of it, but you wish you could. So I do like to give my kids as much quality time as I
That's
can.
nice because some people
You know?
can be either whether it's workaholics, alcoholics, too much
Totally.
alcoholics, like that. You know,
It's
like
the
it's sort of
holic.
it's the
Yeah.
holic there
True.
too. you a Melbourne boy?
I am. Grew up in
Because
Melbourne.
I'm a
yes.
Melbourne girl.
Uh-huh.
And what footy team do you back
I'm a
for?
Melbourne Demons man.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, because my dad played for the Bombers. He played
Uh-huh.
the 2 premierships, back in the day.
Yeah.
So good old AFL footy.
AFL. So I was AFL mad. Again, worked at
Used
the
to be
AFL footy
VFL
show,
back
and
in
then
the days.
AFL is one of those things that it is like a religion in Melbourne. So
Oh, it
I don't want to talk
certainly
about it
is.
for too long because there'll be listeners going, "I don't like it."
I don't like it. But you know what I tell you what I do like? They talk about women in sport. Women, because I would have loved to have played footy then. But now, look at how popular the Matildas are.
Yeah.
And so now with women in sport, they're getting recognised everywhere globally.
Yeah.
How cool's that?
My kids know more Matildas players than they do Socceroos because I took them to the Matildas World Cup
Really?
in Brisbane, and I took them to the D's winning the AFLW Premiership in Brisbane last year.
Oh, how
and
cool.
they know, I absolutely love women's sport. There's something about it. The way they celebrate, it's kind of like, it looks like they take the sport less seriously.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
have more fun. And I think for
That's a
kids,
great
it's
thing
a
to say,
great
isn't it?
example to see, look how much fun they're having.
Yeah.
boys.
Can't you
Not-
tell,
Yeah.
Di,
Yeah.
with Marcus, you when you say, do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
a shining example.
That's
Oh,
my
that's so kind.
that's my line.
Absolutely
Make the rest of
shining
your
example.
life the best
Because
of your
you-
life.
you
I love that.
purely
That's on your
are.
book.
I love your energy and it's
Yeah,
authentic.
beautiful.
Your subject matter is like our favourite subject matter, and I think
Yes.
a lot
It
of
is.
our
That's why I loved your
listeners,
podcast. When I got the invitation,
so
I was like,
going,
yes.
yay!
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so great.
It's like in summing up, I guess, really from what I can observe, I guess listeners, I hope you're feeling the same as me. It's about what's sitting on your shoulders. It's the way you think. It's the way it's our attitude.
Yeah.
It's no doubt, you say woo, but it is gratitude for what you have.
absolutely.
Examining yourself is awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surrendering to that rather than embracing all of these gremlins that have been built up over many, many years. As they say, 90% of those are lies,
Yes.
those beliefs. But more than anything else, then of course being physical movement. It's like, I think a lot of people go, exceptional life, longevity is, or, it'll be 25,000 things. It's not.
It's not, no.
absolutely.
It's purely and simply
And it's sort of something I think
easy.
for this.
Really.
These type of books
Yeah.
like this, I like to read them again and again and again.
Yes.
Because I like
It's
to
a Bible.
pick things
Yeah.
up, and if I'm feeling I might need this tool, I'll go, okay, and I read this. And so I think
It's
this
true.
with Marcus,
It's actually written like that
yeah,
too.
so I just really think
It
this is just
Oh,
fantastic.
you're beautiful.
We'll share this for our
We love
listeners
it.
here. We'll have it on our show notes,
Yeah.
Marcus. And now we've got
You're
a
an
couple of,
exceptional
You really
person.
are an exceptional
Yeah.
person.
No, I mean that from my
No,
heart.
we really do.
Yeah.
Your energy is infectious, and I think
Yeah.
that's sort of like in life too. It's like
It's people-
sharing.
We always
great
navigate
things
to
too,
people
isn't
like
it?
Marcus, don't we, in
Yes,
life? Always.
yeah,
Have I got a couch when I come to Sydney then? Have I got
You
a-
sure bloody do. Absolutely. Always. Bless you.
Or a fence post.
Exactly.
Hang him on the fence
Absolutely.
post.
And we'll all go and do
Well,
the walk
talk
the
about
next
fence
morning.
posts. If you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, who would it be, Marcus, and why?
I've got to just admit that I have been thinking, because I've been listening to the podcast.
Oh, we like
so
that. We like that.
I was
yeah.
thinking about this over breakfast this morning. There's two. Eddie JQ, I'd love him back. I'd love him back. He was going to record a video for my 40th birthday when it was in COVID, and he messaged, my wife Sarah was messaging all my friends, and she said, Eddie, can you record a video for Marcus? And the last text message I ever got from Eddie was like, I'm so sorry, Marcus, I've lost my voice. And I'm like, and it's actually...
And how old was he?
He was 101 when he died.
Oh my gosh.
And it was
well, he had
almost-
the intention too, didn't he?
Yeah.
So,
Good
innings.
So I'd love Eddie back to just see him one more time, because the regret is that you just think they're going to live forever.
And what would you
know.
say to him?
Oh,
yes.
I think I would. You know what? If I could only say one word, I would just say thank you. Like, I just am so grateful that people that go through such hard lives find the courage to speak up. Like, you could be forgiven for just hiding in a shell and never dealing with your life. Like, and everyone would understand that.
Yeah.
And the second one would be Sanduk Ruwet. I'd love to go to Nepal. And he's called the God of Sight. Like, if you want a good book, read The Barefoot Surgeon, written by a great Australian
Not heard of
journalist
it.
called
Oh, damn.
Ali Gripper.
Thank you. I didn't know about that
it is
one.
a
and
great read.
I intend to actually go to Nepal and Bhutan,
Wow.
which is the happiest place.
Yes,
so I
yes.
can't wait to go there. So no, thank you for sharing that one. We'll keep that one.
I'm reading it
So
right
is
now for the third time. It is a ripper.
We're always running out of
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
Last
They
question.
don't in
You know this
Ikaria
one too, don't you?
Run out of time.
Don't you know it when you're
Well, you're doing
listening
good
to the
work, girls.
podcast?
Yeah, episodes
So
are very
if you had
listenable.
the opportunity of having a chat with your 20-year-old self, what would you like to say to him and why?
Wow. I loved my younger years. This is going to sound so shallow, But I loved having
from you.
so many deep and meaningful conversations with girls. I was always chatting to girls. I grew up in a house full of girls. I got 2 sisters. Mum and dad divorced when I was 10, lived with mum. I've always got on better with girls than guys. So I was always the guy at the pub chatting to girls. But I would never, crack onto them, as I would have said back in the day.
Just enjoying their company.
Yeah, just enjoying their company. But there's a part of me, I don't know if it's my younger self, but a part of me was like, was I too scared? Was I not confident enough to have a crack? So a part of me would be more like, well, just have a crack and find out.
Yes.
Because I think in many ways, I was
cute,
so
isn't
good.
it?
Yeah, I don't mean it to sound shallow, but it was like, I was so good at talking about their challenges in their life or what is going great or just having a chat. But I always wondered was I just like that teenager boy that was a bit scared to just take one step further. And I think if we're going to live our exceptional lives, you've got to do the thing that scares you. So that's just the thing I think about.
Take that leap.
Yeah,
of
just
faith.
take
You
that
could
leap.
have
Just
kissed
to
that
see.
girl at 20 that
And
you actually didn't.
My mates will have plenty of stories of
I bet.
all of the
Oh, he
girls
had a
that
lot
I,
of mates
that I
'cause
could have.
He was a magnet
Can
to the
I ask a
chicks.
cheeky question?
Please do.
So when did you first kiss your gorgeous girl?
We
Or
met.
girl? Yes.
We met 2005 and we kissed under the stars in Bustleton at the Bustleton Backpackers in 2005.
Oh, that is great.
Marcus,
go.
it's
And
been
you know
beautiful
what?
having you
And
today
you're
in so many
still
ways.
kissing.
You're just
Still
one
kissing.
big
No more babies,
happy.
though.
You're just
Okay,
a bundle
fair
of
enough.
love and joy. You really are.
Absolutely
Yeah.
are. You know.
Thank you for what you're
Thank
doing
you
for all
so
of us.
much. You boost people
Yeah.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much
Get
for
the book,
coming
guys.
on. Everyone, look, hey, thank
Yeah.
you for listening.
Yes.
And tune in next Monday.
Yep.
And don't forget to follow, rate,
We'll
and
be
review.
back.
And how many
5
stars?
stars,
How
5
many
stars.
stars?
What do you
Come
reckon?
on,
What do you
yeah.
reckon?
This is
I reckon
good.
150 out of 5.
Oh, wow, 100.
Meant to do
We're
5.
gonna do-
Just add the old
I think
one.
so,
and-
150.
I don't know. Thank you guys for
Thank
supporting
you.
us in so many ways. And Marcus, who's a seasoned podcaster, I mean,
we
we're
need
only
more
as
tips
good as the
from you.
listeners,
You're
aren't we?
doing a great job.
Yes,
You're doing
Thank
a
you,
great job.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. And
everyone
look forward to
listening.
chatting on Monday.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.